Alrighty, we are here at Los Angeles Comic Con, and I am joined by an amazing, talented, my gosh, what do you call it? Costume designer and an artist, all of itself. Rachel, also known as LuckyGrim. How are you doing?
Great. It's very cold in here. It's surprising for Southern California, but great. I love coming to LA Comic Con. It's always fun to be around all the different makers, creatives, and getting to meet new people in the industry.
Okay, so you were telling me a little bit about your past and kind of what you've been working on. Now, as a Marvel nerd myself and an MCU fan and all of that, I appreciate all the work. Give me a little bit about your backstory when it comes to costume design and everything.
So I have a master's degree in historic costuming for museums from Harvard. Okay. I started in Boston, and then I was a stylist for Puma and Reebok and New Balance for a long time. But there's very little upward mobility in those fields as a costume maker, costume designer. Right. And I specialize in these little fiddly techniques of needlework and creation. And I got poached to work for studios, taking my specialty of goldwork embroidery and specialty historic pieces to work in the studios. Yeah. And then I've been there for 15 years. Wow.
Well, that's amazing. I'm looking at some of your artwork here. First off, you were talking about infusing things with 24 karat gold and all that kind of stuff. What is your approach when it comes to designing these pieces?
So I have a pretty methodical way of how I do this is whether it's I'm gonna basically be a Xerox copy machine from something I like, or if it's a brand new design, I draw it out, like pen and paper, I draw it out, and I mark on it little notes of where I want things. And I try and look at everything like it is a film.
Okay.
Even my Beetlejuice that I wore on stage yesterday, I look at it like it's a fully functioning film. Where are my Easter eggs? Where's the plot? Where are the fun things to add? Yeah. And then, do I have a theme for the costume? Am I going historically accurate? Am I going extra detailed? Or am I just going for something fun and fancy? Okay, gotcha.
So you've been doing this type of work, or you work with studios for 15 years.
Yes.
What do you have on your docket now that you're like, hey, you spilled a little bit for me before. Tell me about your coming project.
I'm so excited. I'm going to be the costume designer and costume director for a new feature film called Dirt. We were just written up in Variety. It features Anthony Hopkins. It's a atmospheric horror set in New Mexico. It's all about a curse and the addiction we all have to our own thoughts and our own internal struggles, and how we all try to live within our own minds without trying to break free.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm working on this completely unhinged, amazing short film. It's about two undersea sirens that go hunting men who just don't know any better.
Okay.
I'm very excited to just get weird with it.
That's interesting. So you go from something that has to do with superheroes and all that kind of stuff, and going into horror and all that.
Yeah.
Tell me how you find that blend, or are you taking inspiration from one and going to the other? Is horror your real passion?
So horror and anything scary that evokes a feeling is my passion. And one of my favorite directors said a long time ago that the only thing that separates horror from comedy is the soundtrack.
Okay.
So I think that's why I love it so much. And with horror, you get to look at these tiny details when it comes to wardrobe and costuming. Where when it's superheroes, it's about the big super suit. It's about the big mask.
Yeah.
But when it comes to horror, it's about what colors is this character wearing, and does that evoke something? Does that foreshadow something? Is this specific set of jeans, the holes that are in it, does that move around? And most actors will tell you that a good portion of their character comes from that costume once they put it on. Because as a costume director, we work with the actor to be like, oh, what do you want? What do you think your character is? And I like hiding really dumb things, like unhinged things in costumes. Like I just got asked to do, we have this scene where it's two twins to be kind of like the Shining twins.
Oh gosh.
But I know, but it's set in a very square state.
Okay.
And you'll know what I'm saying, but it's square state. So I looked at the director and I was like, how weird can I get? And the director and I have known each other for years. He's like, I know you. Mm-hmm. Just don't make it too awful. And I'm like, okay. So instead I went out and made two like very conservative Christian dresses that you see like all the like beige on beige white moms wear. And I was like, yes.
Gonna make it nice and creepy.
Yes, so creepy.
That's awesome. So you inspired a ton of cosplayers and coming talents as time has gone on. 15 years is no joke to kind of stuff, basically. Tell me, if you were to give a bit of encouragement or advice for anybody that's trying to come up and kind of trying to, tiptoe into this, what would you tell them to just set themselves apart?
That you have to be really bad at something before you're okay at it. You have to be okay at something before you're good at it. You have to be good before you're great. Everybody starts somewhere. And like, I look at things I made 10 years ago and I'm like, who let me out of the house?
Yeah.
And sewing, specifically with costume making, it's about learning from mistakes. You have to mess up a lot.
Right.
And you have to learn from that. So don't ever get discouraged.
Yeah.
And the only thing that separates someone like me who's been in the industry and has the skill set is just time and effort.
My gosh.
That's really it. You just got to get weird with it. Got to just play around, experiment. You're gonna put in sleeves backwards. You're gonna burn yourself.
Yeah.
You're gonna poke yourself with needles. Just learn from it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for this time. I appreciate it. I love seeing your artwork. I love seeing all these pieces. You guys be sure to follow LuckyGrim on all of her journey and everything that she has going on. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problem. Alrighty, be sure to stay tuned for so much more of our content coming from Los Angeles Comic Con. It's been such a great time. Y'all take care.